Snow in the Summer by Venerable Sayadaw U, Jotika. Chapter 7 Friendship, Relationships, and Loving Kindness. What is the key to people's hearts? Understanding. The most valuable thing in life is relationship, friendship. Life cannot be real if relationships are not real. Relationship is sacred. The best thing I can give you is my friendship. Relationship is the source of the greatest joy and the greatest mental suffering. The quality of our life depends much on the quality of our relationship with people around us. It is nice to have good friends. Life would be so flat without kalyana, mittas, noble, spiritual friends. How rare it is to have a friend. Dear friend, I don't have many friends left, so I value whatever friends I still have. To have a friend is one of the most wonderful experiences in life. To develop a deeper and deeper understanding of oneself and the world is also very wonderful. For me, understanding is the most satisfying thing in life. There is no time and space in our friendship. I have made many new friends with whom I can relate to. I don't expect anything from them, just open-hearted, free-flowing communication. Yes, I also have deeper cravings for some kind of sincere companion. I want my relationship with you, with him, with my daughters, with my former wife to be a nurturing, nourishing relationship. Relationships with people are not really reliable in most cases. Most relationships are just games. An honest, open, sincere, genuine, non-manipulative, non-domineering relationship where there is mutual respect and trust and which does not have unrealistic expectations. Is such a relationship possible? I want to quote from C. Rogers' book, Freedom to Learn. Furthermore, I have no desire to instruct my readers or impress you with my knowledge in this field. I have no desire to tell you what you should think or feel or do. The only solution I have come up with is that perhaps I can share something of myself, something of my experience in interpersonal relationships, something of what it has been like to be me in communication with others. Interpersonal communication is almost never achieved, except in part. You probably never feel fully understood by another, and neither do I. Yet, I find it extremely rewarding when I have been able, in a particular instance, truly to communicate myself to another. I find it very precious when, for some moment in time, I have felt really close to, fully in touch with another person. I believe I know why it is satisfying to me to hear someone. When I can really hear someone, it puts me in touch with him. It enriches my life. C. Rogers. A person needs a good relationship for his or her psychological development. A good relationship is a necessity in a person's life. A person learns and grows in a good relationship. Without a good relationship, we are like robots. With a bad relationship, we become beasts, or worse than beasts. People are becoming more and more inhuman because they don't have good relationships with people. Relationship is the soil in which we grow psychologically. If the soil is of poor quality, we don't grow well or we have stunted growth. If the soil is good, we grow well, strong, and mature. There can be no real psychological maturity without good relationships. So we need good relationships in which communication is honest, smooth, flowing, and without fear of any kind. Bad relationships are poisonous. With sincerity, openness, understanding, caring, loving kindness, and patience, they will surely work. Most relationships don't work because they don't have free flow of information, openness, genuine caring, real respect for others, and an understanding that we are all human beings. Each of us has our own imperfections, limitations. Expecting too much from another person can also be a cause of disappointment, which leads to rejection, thinking this is not what I expected or acceptable. With openness, vulnerability, honesty, metta, loving kindness, and understanding it will be a good relationship which will promote spirituality, maturity, and most relationships become routine after a while, lifeless, stagnant. Without honesty, there can be no real communication. Without real communication, there can be no real relationship. Without real relationship, there can be no real help, support, teaching. You need a good friend or good friends, which is better if possible. One should not live in a place where there is no friend. But what is a friend? And you need a place which is suitable to your temperament. It is easy to have compassion for a suffering being. It is not easy to live with that person for the rest of your life. Love is not enough for two people to live together. Deep understanding of each other is necessary. Love is not enough in a relationship. Deep understanding and appreciation is also necessary. See if you can accept all the bad things about him without wanting to change him, and see if you can also respect him as he is now. Dependent relationships don't work well. Relationships shouldn't be used as a means. It should end in love, understanding, respect, and appreciation. Nobody is perfect. Sometimes relationships become entanglement if they are not grounded on right attitude. Do not use marriage or any relationship as a means to solving a problem. People should relate to each other just because they love, respect, and admire each other as the way they are. Otherwise, there is no genuine relationship. It's okay to fall in love, but don't be in a hurry to get married. People change once they're in an intimate relationship. It takes a lifetime to make sure that you really love somebody. The haystack burns with a big flame and lasts for a short time, but the husk fire burns imperceptibly and lasts for a long, long time. Marriage is not a bad thing. I've seen many couples living in harmony, supporting each other in Dhamma practice. It is very rare, though. It is so rare to find somebody who cares for you. Love without hoping for the relationship to last. Look at the glorious sunset while it is there, but you can't hold on to it. We never have too much metta. Usually we have too little. Real metta never makes you unhappy. It is attachments and expectations which make you unhappy. You can't expect metta as a return for your metta. Metta can't be traded. If there is an expectation, then that means there is self-interest. If we love somebody because we want to be loved, then we get hurt when we don't get metta in return. Feelings come and go and desires come and go. Let them come and go. Don't take them so seriously. Just watch them. If you don't try to control them and don't wish them to be otherwise, you won't get so upset. Our desire to be in control makes us burn out. We don't suffer because we have a heart. We suffer because we have desires and take them so seriously. I hope you and him can be lifelong Dhamma friends, helping each other on this journey of spiritual growth. Imposing one's ideas and ideals on someone can cause great conflict. Judging and criticizing don't help much either. It can cause loneliness. You cannot change him and he cannot change you. Expecting that the other party should change hinders free communication. Better not to have expectations in a relationship. Sharing and caring is already healing enough. That will lead to his unburdening of all his feelings. People want to unburden their feelings, but they're afraid that they'll be looked down upon, that they'll be misunderstood or manipulated, that they'll be talked about and not loved if people know all about them, that they'll be thought of as abnormal, etc. So they carry all the pain, fear, disappointment, and longing all their life, staying lonely the whole time and acting like tough people. But they melt down when they meet another person who will not judge or gossip about them, who will still love them even after they know all about them, and who really cares for them. Unconditional acceptance is what he needs. Can you give him that sort of acceptance? I will marry you if. I will not marry you if. The ifs are really terrible, terrifying things. When somebody says, I love you, we feel very happy, but we don't really believe it. We always have this fear in our minds. When he or she knows more about me, he or she will not love me anymore. I have to be prepared for that. I have to be prepared for being rejected. We don't have complete trust. We are always uncertain. Are we really sure when we say I love you? Very rarely. It seems rare to know somebody who can really understand you. When you have nobody who understands you, or at least tries to understand or empathize with you, you feel very lonely. How many lonely people are there in this world of 5 billion people? Is there real contact between one person and another? Can we really touch another human being? Will you let another person touch you? Many people tell me, you are the only person who understands me. I am surprised to hear that repeatedly, and the way they say it, that is really touching. I try. I wish I could understand people deeply. I don't expect to understand everybody. That would be too much for me. But at least I want to understand my daughters and their mother and my close friends. You want someone to love you, yet when you love someone, you don't feel that you're worthy of their love. To make you feel worthy of his love, you must sacrifice yourself. But that kind of relationship is never secure and satisfying. Security in relationships, it's possible only for those who are mature and secure in themselves. Those who have feelings of insecurity and unworthiness will never feel secure in any relationship. People usually don't love someone who has sacrificed for them. They don't want to be in debt to anybody. And even more so if you remind them of how much you have sacrificed for them. Strange? Yes, people are strange. If you have helped someone, it's best for you if you then forget about it. If they remember, it's nice of them. But if you remind them of how much you have done for them, they'll hate you for it. If I sacrifice for him, he'll love me forever. No, don't deceive yourself. I love you, not for what you have done for me, but for who you are. I'll forgive him and he'll forgive me, and we'll love each other. No, that's a kind of bargaining. I don't want you to live your life always wondering whether or not he is telling you the truth. That will drain all your mental and physical energy. Yes, a liar can do anything. I am not willing to live with a person in whom I do not trust. I can forgive a mistake, but I cannot live with an untrustworthy person. Read Sanity, Madness, and Family by R.D. Laing. You know how you can go crazy having to live with people who won't tell you the truth. It's okay to help a person, but to get into a deep relationship with a person who is not truthful is really taxing. You cannot have a fulfilling relationship with a person in whom you do not trust and respect. People want to be loved, including you and me. But what we do to be loved is different. To be loved unconditionally, that is what we really want. But can we love ourselves unconditionally? Do you love yourself? Strange question. We don't think about it. It is easier to love than to understand. It is better still if the two go together. We must learn to love without becoming dependent or possessive. Pure love doesn't cause pain. Real metta is necessary in relationships. Without it, relationships don't mean much. With metta comes acceptance, understanding, and tolerance. We're not perfect and nobody is perfect. To see our own imperfection and to feel okay about it is very important to our happiness and even to the progress in our practice. If we cannot accept our imperfection, how can we accept somebody else's? People could live in harmony if they are willing to give each other as much freedom as possible, if they were not so manipulative or bossy. The power of loving kindness, even personal metta for a particular person, and how this can have such an impact on someone's spiritual life. Yes. Real love and deep understanding is much more satisfying than any sense, pleasure, or money. Moreover, a way of life based on mindfulness and wisdom will surely make this life worth living. You cannot have metta for somebody with the expectation that they will be kind to you. You want to be happy and peaceful, so extend that attitude towards others. There is no way. You should wish for others all the good things that you wish for yourself. We need metta from many people, if possible from all the people around us. These days, most people are suffering from metta deficiency syndrome. Most people are crazy because they don't have metta, sila, sati, and panya. They are attracted to luxuries and new toys, so they lose sight of good qualities of their heart. They have sold their souls to the devil, so to speak. Do you think you can find somebody who can make you happy? Do you think you can find somebody who will love you unconditionally forever? That our care for others is our care for ourselves, a deep honoring of the being we all share. That is true when there is no ego and when we see that all beings are related. You cannot harm another being without harming yourself. So when you help another, you help yourself. Our care for others is caring for ourselves also. To see it and feel it, we must first lose our sense of ego. Without others, I don't exist. Imagine that there was nothing and nobody. What would you be then? So everybody we know somehow affects our lives. Can you imagine what impact you have on me, on my life? You know what impact I have on you, on your mind, on your life. The same is true for me. You also have a great impact on my life. You've made my life richer in many ways. A woman with a mind of her own can love a man with a mind of his own. Two grown-up, psychologically independent, mature persons respecting each other's individuality and freedom can have a deep, lasting, meaningful, and nourishing relationship. We can buy a slave, but we cannot buy a friendship. One cannot be realistic when one is overwhelmed with love. Love is irrational because we can talk about it, explain it, or even have it. We think we know it. But how mysterious it is. We feel it. We are overwhelmed by it. Sometimes we can't believe ourselves. Is it really true that I love somebody so wholeheartedly? Because we are always so reserved and because we don't trust ourselves, we don't trust anybody. I love you with all my heart, and I know that you love me. There is no doubt whatsoever. This is tremendous. For me at least, to know that it is possible for me. I have never expected it. How can I expect something which I have never known? So it is more like a surprise. I feel really grateful, but to whom? Well, to life, sweet aching longing. If you have not loved, and if you do not love somebody with all your heart, you are not a fully fledged human being yet. You are only a potential human being. To be in love is to be in an altered state of mind. Love is not reasonable, it is beyond reasoning. You are alive and overflowing with feeling. Such a thing happens once in a lifetime. I'm very glad to hear that your heart is open now. Let it open even though sometimes it may be painful. We're afraid to love, afraid that we'll be rejected, afraid that we won't be taken seriously or will be manipulated, afraid that we'll be vulnerable, and sometimes we don't trust ourselves. We don't believe that we can really love somebody. Let all your feelings come out. Write down, express your feelings in blank verses. Don't be in a hurry to get married. Get to know her better. She's a human being like all of us. She has her share of faults. Try to understand the whole person and love her for that, not just parts of her or your own projection of her. You said she is very honest. That's the most important quality. Without it, there can be no meaningful relationship. But she's so painfully level-headed about things. What do you expect? To be crazy about a guy who is crazily in love with her? Of course she should be more careful. She must have some experience with men who get crazy, and then it's better for her to learn to love you more and more. For a woman, the stake is bigger, and love is not enough. You must have heard about romantic love. Some of them didn't last long. Some had tragic ends. It hurts like a raw nerve. Well, it hurts, and at the same time you don't want the hurt to go away. It's so precious, so special. It's painful and it's pleasant too. To love somebody with all your heart is to become a real human being. This experience of yours has real impact on the way you look at human beings. It is priceless. Even love for a woman can be a spiritual experience. There should be spirituality in every aspect of our life. Then only life would be beautiful and meaningful. You see, nobody can teach you how to open your heart, how to be vulnerable, how to love another human being, how to go beyond all conventions, how to go beyond limits and to find that which is beyond. What you are going through is somewhat similar to the experience of enlightenment. You are in a totally different world with different values. You have become a different person and you cannot be the same person that you once were. The transformation is irreversible. I value heart-to-heart contact with other people. I know what it feels like to be in contact with other people heart-to-heart. Most relationships do not work because there is no bilateral, mutual caring, sharing, vulnerability, honesty, tenderness, sensitivity, and real and abundant flowing of metta, not desire. There is one more quality which is no less important. Deep understanding of another person as a person, not as a sex object. Sex is also part of the relationship between a man and a woman. It should not be neglected, but it should be in harmony with the real sharing of pleasure and not just the gratification of one's animalistic desire. We talk too much about love. Do we know what we are talking about? You said it feels sometimes like I no longer know what reality is. Do you know what reality was about? As long as we think about reality, we are separated from it. When we are one with reality, we no longer think about it. If I could give you advice, I would say take your time to understand your own mind very deeply about what it is you really want from this life. One can go on and on doing one thing after another, getting in and out of relationships. What do you expect from a relationship? What are you looking for? If you don't know what you are looking for, you will end up having a lot of things that you don't want. I know what you mean when you said living from the heart. With most of my relationships with people, I have been very frustrated thinking that something which makes relationships authentic is missing. In quite a few cases, I didn't have it myself, so things didn't work well in the long run. Something goes wrong, but now I'm much more aware of it. Yet, with some people, friendship happens so naturally. For example, it's so easy for me to relate to you. I hope both of you are really open and honest with each other. There is no such thing as they lived happily ever after. There will always be some unexpected problems. We only need to learn to solve them intelligently. It is necessary to have some problems. After you've worked through a difficult time together with sensitivity and patience, you become closer. You understand each other better. That understanding of each other makes a relationship more meaningful and long-lasting. Love alone isn't sufficient. Deep understanding of each other's feelings, wishes, dreams, fears, hopes, etc. is important. Our parents love us. How come we can't relate to them? You are very fortunate to know what it means to love another human being. I don't know about the future, but I believe your love for her has already brought much depth and meaning to your life. I think that alone is enough for a lifetime. Most people have lived and died without knowing what it means to love tenderly. They sing songs about that though. They say the nightingale pierces his bosom with a thorn when he sings his love song. So do we all. How else should we sing? Khalil Gibran. Nice to hear that she and you are intimate now. Get to know the living reality, her mind, her feelings, her difficulties in adapting to you in America, and the conflict in her mind if she has any. Most people do have conflicts. Do you really know the depth of her being? Do you know how it feels being her? What if she won't marry you? What makes a relationship really nourishing, satisfying, lasting, alive, and not merely routine? You wrote, I wanted her so much, but what do I want? That question is very important, and nobody can give you the answer to that. You have to look deep inside yourself for the answer. The union of hearts, deep and intuitive understanding of each other, nonverbal communication, mystical, transcending all reasons. A knowing in the guts that the two are meant to be together on this round of rebirth. Loving, caring, and helping each other, knowing that the understanding between the two will grow and grow until the two minds become totally transparent. No fears, no secrets, and complete trust. No games or role-playing. Being vulnerable. Is this possible? Ask her to tell you all about herself, her childhood, her parents, her brothers and sisters, her hopes, her fears. You said, so the nutty, intense craving has faded. And also, is it because it just faded on its own, or partly because I have been successful in gradually winning her affection? Life cannot go on with such great intensity. It would burn you out. Mostly it is and should be just simple. Everything in nature goes in cycles. You can't go on living with that intense feeling all the time. Your survival would be in danger, and you would not be able to do the usual things you need to do in your life. The intense feeling is too consuming. I'm not invalidating or in any way saying that the intense feeling is not important. It gives us some glimpse of what it means to be really alive, and it changes our values, our aims. Your second question can also be answered in the affirmative. You've got her affection, so you no longer have to worry about not getting it, which was what made you feel so nutty. But that doesn't mean that your love for her is less than it was before. It means that your mind now is more stable. Hot, burning, craving, or love is not good in the long term. Warm, and sometimes even a cool, not cold, kind of metta is much better. It is more reliable and more nourishing. Well, you'll go crazy again when you have your first child. I'll wait for that. When you have a child, let me be his or her friend, companion, playmate. I know how to be a good friend to a child. Let me help him or her learn about nature, life, and about him or herself, please. Unhealthy relationships should be concluded. If you don't change, you don't live fully. Anything that lives must change of necessity. No change means death. So for a friendship to be a living one, it must always be changing. Most of us don't feel alive because we are afraid of change, going into the unknown. We don't want to take risks. Before you let go of your attachment to anybody or anything, look at the attachment in the mind. Understanding attachment is very important. Only deep understanding of attachment can free the mind of it. If you force your mind to let go of attachment without really seeing the nature of it, it will come back very soon. Seeing clearly and understanding deeply is the only way to overcome it. Forced detachment is not real detachment.